hood is Iris, and Iris is the hood. Wait, what makes no sense?
What? Well, I happen to have Iris's hood right here. Does that mean that I just stuffed the defendant in my pocket and just walked away? Does that mean that Wright gave me the defendant?
By technicality, yes.
It seems there are bigger fools in this world than the one at the defense's bench. Larry, there's something you need to be made aware of. On the night of the murder, Iris wasn't wearing her hood. She had given it to Wright as a gift. Are you going to change your story now? Perhaps to suggest it was Wright who took flight? No. Because if Wright could fly, he would not be in the hospital right now.
What?
If Wright could fly, he would not be in the hospital right now, and... What? Your statement makes no sense. I think you understand what I mean just fine.
Why? Why didn't I have Iris's hood? Angie, what's going on with Iris and Ned? Why, Ned? Why? No. Felt boring.
What? Did you just say dogs are boring?
No, they're not boring.
Okay.
Dogs are not boring.
Yes.
That's
Anyways.
an insult. Oh, that's an insult to dogs, Larry. Dare you?
Okay, Phoenix is my favorite, but
No.
that's usually the type of thing you would say to someone who is like significantly horrible. Anyways.
I do believe that this unbelievable, mysteriously sketch. Yes, I did mix up my words. Leave me alone. This is destined to disappear. Discredited and disgraced straight into the garbage.
Discarded. What is it now, fitness?
It feels like I've been waiting for 25 years for this day to come. Angie, today is the day I get to... What? Stupefy you. Sure.
What?
What is the meaning of your outburst, witness? I hate to do this, but I have evidence.
Definitive? Evidence?
Definitive evidence. Iris did indeed come flying over that bridge. Iris and shall prove it. I didn't expect to ask this again, but we shall be needing your testimony once more. Tell us anything you know concerning this sketch. and show us the evidence that this nightmare. I hope you're ready, Aggie. Hey.
Your Honor, the witness is threatening me. Bailiff, please remove him from the court after his testimony.
It's called a metaphor.
You've been serving us a whopping serving of pain this whole time. Trust me. Proof that Iris flew.
An Irish jet ski bridge, she has already gone. Was already gone. I was worried, so I frantically searched for her. That led me to finding a beautiful crystal sphere half buried in snow. I'm sure that Eris was...
Eris? I'm sure that you're confused.
I mean, Iris was simply wearing a spare hood.
Well, that's an obvious contradiction. Okay. Larry, that night, there was someone who lost a crystal sphere.
Yeah. There was? Who was that stupid?
Miss Elise Dukesnim, the mentor to a stupid idiot. The victim? I have a photo of her here. And on the end of her staff, you can see a familiar-looking crystal sphere.
Hey! My photograph! Give it back!
A crystal sphere like that is quite easy to find. I have one just like it on my brooch. They look nothing alike. In any case, please take a look at this. It's the victim's staff, found at the scene of the crime.
The crystal sphere, it's gone. What? Wait, what? What does this mean?
If anyone jumped, or flew, across the bridge that night, I would believe flying before believing someone jumped over that bridge. It certainly was not Iris. After all, she was not wearing her hood. More importantly, the crystal sphere found at the landing site was not hers either.
That means the one who flew And Rock the Sphere was a victim, Miss Elise did.
A fool alongside another fool on a fool's errand to reach a foolish conclusion. First of all, this sketch, which I prefer to call a scribble, is ridiculous. I thought that said hideous for a second. People cannot fly, thus it is rejected. I thought you said there was merit to it earlier. And this crystal sphere, this is nothing more than a red herring. You honestly believe that? Give it some thought, and I'm sure you'll realize it as well, Miles Edgeworth. Elise Duxnam was in her room on the night of the murder. There was no reason for her to go to Dusky Bridge. Therefore, the sphere cannot be related to this case. That is all. Miss Francisca von Karma, the only people who will accept that explanation are scatterbrains and clowns.
Are you pointing at me?
The victim's crystal sphere was found near the bridge on the night of her murder. Yet you expect us to believe that has nothing to do with the case? That crystal sphere, it was probably thrown away at the bridge after the murder. After the murder. It had stopped snowing. Right? Yeah. It had already stopped snowing. It was buried in the snow. There is blood on the crystal sphere, isn't there? This naturally suggests that it was thrown something. The killer placed it there in order to throw the investigation off the scent. The same reason that he drew that ridiculous sketch.
What? You mean I'm the killer?
Enough joking. Just when did this crystal sphere appear near the foot of the bridge? Unless this can be proven in some way, I refuse to believe it is related to this case. She makes a valid point. No, she doesn't. There's no evidence Elise Duxnam left Hazakura temples that night. Oh no, I'm getting her accent. However, if somehow this crystal sphere can be proven to have been dropped before the victim was killed, then this case is going to transform into something else entirely. Okay, yeah. Final opinion, I know it's not related to this case, so it will have been nothing more than a monumental waste of time. Prepare yourself for some very appropriate punishment, Miles Edgeworth. Can I prove it? Can I prove that the crystal spheres dropped before the murder took place? Yes. Can I prove it? That isn't the issue. To simply prove it. That's the only option. That's what... Ugh. That's the way Phoenix Wright would do this. Okay, yes, whatever. Your Honor, allow me to prove something to you. I will prove that this crystal sphere is a vital link to solving this case. That look in your eyes. You remind me... That you... Whatever. You are not Phoenix! Don't be mean to yourself. You're not boring, Edgeworth. Okay, presenting evidence. Evidence that proves that the crystal sphere was indeed... do we report... or do we... the weather data? Because... No. Okay, then is it not the photo, the crime photo? Okay. This crystal sphere, it was about half buried in the snow, correct?
That's right. If it hadn't stopped snowing, it would have been game over. The snow would have totally covered it.
That's all I needed to hear from you, Larry. Your testimony makes one thing quite clear.
What?
When the crystal sphere was dropped, it was snowing, even if it was ever so slightly. Snowing. On the other hand, let us look at the scene of the murder. As proven earlier today, there is no snow on the victim's body. Therefore, the crystal sphere must have been dropped before the murder. What?
Order!
On the night of the murder, the victim did indeed go to Dusky Bridge, and there something occurred that caused this crystal sphere to come loose.
What could have that been?
This sphere, there's some blood on it, isn't there? Allow me to raise a certain possibility at this junction. The real crime scene was near the foot of Dusky Bridge. The murder didn't take place in the Hazakura Temple courtyard. Only a fool would suggest such a foolish piece of absolute foolishness. Just who is the fool, and which part is so foolish, Miss Von Karma? Have you been paying any attention this whole time, Miles Edgeworth? The sister saw everything. She saw the victim being killed by the defendant in the Hazakura Temple courtyard. No, she didn't. To put it more precisely, what she saw was the murder weapon being removed from the victim's body. That's the same thing. No, it isn't. You said it yourself. Very little blood is actually lost at the moment of a blade's insertion. If you want to talk about when the most blood would be lost from a body, that would be when the blade is removed. If that statement is the truth, then Dusky Bridge could very easily be the scene of the murder. The murder weapon was not removed, thus there was no bleeding. You are forgetting one vital thing, Miles Edgeworth. Elise Duxnum's body was found in Hazakura Temple. On foot it takes 15 minutes to travel from Dusky Bridge to Hazakura Temple. Do you mean to suggest someone carried the body all that way? I've made it this far. The only place to take this is to the end. I just need to prove the possibility. It happened, as I presume. Snowmobile. Okay. On that snowy night, there was one way that a body could have been moved. The snowmobile. As we know, the snowmobile was used that night. It was explained as having been used to dispose of the murder weapon, but it could have also been used to carry a body.
Wow!
This is completely unacceptable, Miles Edgeworth. You've dug yourself into your own grave. What do you mean? The only one who could have used the snowmobile was the defendant. She's the one who moved the body. Doesn't that put the final nail in your coffin? You're too late, Franziska von Karma. In fact, the defense has proven something else entirely. We've shown that this case requires further investigation. But where was the victim, Elise Duxnum, really killed? If her body was moved, Whatever for? And finally, just what does this image mean? Do you even need to think about that? Such a creature could never seize the truth, let alone describe it. This witness certainly sits on one of the lowest possible branches of humanity. However, he would never utter a lie that could hurt a girl with whom he is enamored. He drew this, so it is something that actually happened. The defense stands firm on this point.
Ready, Banco. That settles it then. I cannot give a verdict under these circumstances.
Right. I seem to have fulfilled my part in this. It is just as I thought, Francisco von Karma. You make a wonderful partner. Excuse me? There's one reason, and one reason alone, for me being here. To expose the darkness lurking in this case, and then pass it on to Wright. Ugh. Okay, whatever.
Ow!
Miles Edgeworth, I don't care about what you were here to do. Neither do I. This was my chance to finally grind you under my heel. A shame that your chance seems to have slipped by you. This is all your fault. Such a terrible witness. You are an... I demand... Whoa! She killed Larry!
Oh! I cannot believe that the witness relates to an actual event.
Oh.
However, there has to be some sort of answer. Needs question.
Okay, yeah, we don't care about this. Okay, yes. Yes. And this the rest is up to... Ugh. By this point, every time the word Wright comes up in conversation, it's just like, I don't care. This was my break from Phoenix and his, like... We're going to end it here. Thanks for watching, Pharaoh! I said thanks for watching, Pharaoh!
Yeah!